Hey there, Splatville, good morning and welcome to the 4th episode of our Splatoon 3 Weapons Guide series, where I go through each weapon type and try to introduce them to the best of my knowledge, show their playstyles, talk about their roles a bit, and help you guide yourself to the ones that suit you more. Last episode was about dualies, and today we will dive into one of the new weapon types added with Splatoon 3, the mysterious Splatana. Since this weapon type is brand new, a lot of things are probably still undiscovered and players still have to truly master it for full understanding, but I'll do my best to introduce it. Keep in mind the series is first and foremost made for new players and others who seek basic overview of weapons and information about them, so everything in this video should be taken as basic introduction. Since there's a lot of support for the series, in the future I might do an advanced series too, but let me know if that interests you. Apart from this series, I also have a lot of other Splatoon 3 content on my channel, from Salmon Run to other guides and topics in Splatoon, and if you're interested, consider supporting the channel. Now let's dive in. Splatana is one of the new weapon types added in Splatoon 3, and while they're widely considered just another melee weapon, they are so much more than that. While a Splatana excels the most at close range due to their ability to also instant splat anyone with a well-timed charge attack, I would actually categorize them more of a hybrid that can play with multiple styles. Splatanas have a wide variety of different attacks, from its standard horizontal swings, charged vertical attacks, and also the charged melee hit. Each of these attacks have a very different purpose, which is why I considered them a hybrid. The Splatana can very much participate in a shooting duel with its horizontal swings, especially if you're using the standard Splatana Viper with its faster attack rate, and the charged vertical attack has great long-range poking ability that combos well with sub-weapons. Finally, the ultimate attack of the Splatana is its melee charged attack, where if you manage to connect your Splatana with the enemy player, they will instantly splat. Out of all the melee options in the game, the Splatana will probably take the most practice due to its wide options when it comes to fighting others, but also because its attacks synergize with each other well and also require you to combo them together for maximum efficiency. This can range from poking from a distance into finishing with close-up swings, combo a torpedo together with a charge poke for a quick splat, or scaring away a shorter range opponent with rapid swings just to charge close and one-hit them with a melee charge attack. There are two Splatanas currently in the game, so let's quickly sum up the differences, but in general it can be described as the Splatana Viper being the more agile and quick Splatana, while the Splatana Stamper is the slower but harder hitting version. This shows in all aspects of the weapons, so their swing speed, their charge attack range, speed, and even damage. But also the Splatana Stamper has a longer range on their melee charge hit. I personally recommend the Splatanas to players who like to play both at range and close-up, and don't mind switching between the style of a gun and a brush or a roller, as I think Splatanas have the playstyles of both a shooter and a roller at the same time. They are also a weapon requiring good sense of positioning and mechanical control to really master their melee attacks, but at the same time, their range options I think are quite forgiving and relaxing to use, so it might actually be a great weapon to use for those still practicing accuracy with Splatoon. While the weapon type is new, I know some players are scared to use them, but I would encourage anyone who might like this weapon to just jump in and enjoy, as they're quite formidable when you understand what to do. On that note though, let's talk about difficulty. So Splatanas are still new, and as I said, we still need to fully understand how to play them correctly and efficiently, but from playing it a lot myself, but also watching competitive Japanese roller and brush mains, I formed an opinion for the moment, but that might change later. I personally think Splatanas might be the hardest of the melee weapons right now, but also a more technical weapon in all of Splatoon. They can achieve similar results as ranged weapons or a more melee-oriented weapon, but it's harder and tighter. As a ranged, you have to work harder to achieve similar results as a gun, but when you go in melee, you also have a much harder time to get an instant splat than a roller or a brush, since you have to aim properly to connect your Splatana with the enemy. Because of this, currently I would rank Splatanas as a 5-star difficulty weapon, especially focusing on mastering them, so keep that in mind. I still think it's a very accessible weapon, but to be really good with a Splatana, I think it's one of the hardest weapon types right now. I personally haven't seen a Splatana in any of the early tournaments yet, and it would be still very early to categorize because of that, but I think Splatanas are somewhere between supports and slayers, maybe leaning a bit more towards slaying. Their kits definitely scream slayer, though what you can achieve with the Zipcaster is still up in the air. Who knows what crazy strategies people will come up with, but needless to say that I think just the very dynamic gameplay of a Splatana can make them somewhat of an in-between and let them adjust to different situations more. They are very capable of decent poking and supporting others, have painting potential if mastered, and can get very dangerous close-up if needed. Now let's talk a bit about its melee attack, as I think a lot of players are still unaware of this with Splatanas, and it's probably the most important technique to master, but also the reason I ranked it somewhat difficult. So we know that Splatanas can deal different damage depending on the style of attack you're using, but they also have a very significant close range advantage. If you fully charge your Splatana and you are also in range, so that your weapon hits the enemy as they connect, your charge attack causes an instant splat instead of the normal damage the ink would do. This is the main and most powerful attack for a Splatana in melee, but also the hardest to pull off, since the hitboxes are quite tight and it's very easy to slide to either side and miss, compared to the very generous hits of a roller or a brush. In fact, in my experience, the trick is to actually leave a little bit of a gap between you and the opponent and charge towards them by holding the left stick forward, as I think this attack might have a tight cone range, meaning it can hit just a little bit easier if there's a minimal distance between you and the target. So what abilities would I recommend for Splatanas? The one that would make the most sense honestly is run speed, but it actually doesn't work on Splatanas, so don't even waste your time. Instead, I still recommend the combination of Ninja Squid and swim speed, as Ninja Squid is just generally a fantastic ability to position yourself around the map a lot easier without getting noticed, especially as a mid to close range weapon, and also helps a lot with your sneak up attacks. Apart from that, I think the most important ability for Splatanas might be sub-weapon Ink Saver. Both Splatanas have excellent sub-weapons, the Torpedo and the Burst Bomb that combo well with their attacks, and I would recommend getting used to using them a lot, and Ink Saver will help you not run out of ink while doing so. I also still recommend to use a couple of levels of Quick Respawn, since as a Splatana you will likely get splatted more than others, and Ink Resistance is also your friend, as it's not only reducing damage while you stand in enemy ink, but also slows you down less, and getting slowed down while you're trying to go for that melee charge is really annoying. I've already talked briefly about how good both the Burst Bomb and the Torpedo is for Splatanas, so I can say their sub-weapons are actually quite good for them. Both can be used to harass your opponents at longer range, but also can be used to combo together with a charge attack, as it's just enough damage for a splat. Burst Bombs are especially good in a Splatana's temper, as if you master them you can Burst Bomb and one-hit players for a very effective close-range alternative to your charge attacks. Instead, I'd love to talk a little bit more about their specials. The Ultra Stamp is not considered one of the better specials, especially in competitive play, but it's certainly one of my favorites, and using it has been a blast in Splatoon 3. In general, I think it synergizes really well with Splatana, allowing you to pressure more in melee, but I think my favorite about it is its long-range punish option it gives the Splatana. It's not even the main attack of the Ultra Stamp I use the most, but the throw. It's just an excellent option to either splat someone at long range or give you just enough time to get close and punish your opponents, or even get in for that melee charge. I had several matches where after pressuring the enemy team they would try to counter my Splatanas with long range, and a good Ultra Stamp throw allowed me to continue my harassment and not let the opponents think they are safe at range. Then we arrive at the Zipcaster, which is a really unique special allowing you to reposition yourself around the map, mostly to dive deeper into the enemy base turf for quick splats, and then retreat. I haven't played a lot with this special for now, but I think it's one of the harder specials to really make good use of, but also has a wide range of uses at the same time, especially if you play in a team. I just find it funny because I think the Zipcaster would be the perfect option for the Splatana Viper, and the Ultra Stamp would have been perfect for the Stamper, and instead it's swapped. Either way, a well-timed Zipcaster can definitely confuse your whole enemy team and can make some great plays, but it's also certainly harder to use well than an Ultra Stamp. So that's where we are at with the Splatanas, a scary new weapon type in both mid-range battles and definitely in close-range fights. For the moment, I still don't see a lot of players use them, as they are new and I think a lot are scared to get into them, but I think there's a huge potential for this weapon and might actually have the craziest plays once mastered, so I'm very much looking forward to the top players picking up the Splatana. The mandatory reminder in each episode to remember to have fun, and if any of these weapons look entertaining to you, pick them up and have fun. It doesn't matter if a weapon is new, difficult, or not as popular, each of them can be mastered and be competitive, as many top players have already proven. But that is it for our 4th episode in the weapon series for Splatoon 3, everyone. Splatanas are my new favorite weapon type, I think, and I'm doing my best in learning and improving with them, as it's such a satisfying and fun weapon to use, but I always gravitated to rollers before, so it might be just me. There's a lot to discover about both the Splatana and the Stringer, and as usual, if you know something more or you think I made a mistake, let us know in the comments section. More episodes will be releasing covering the other weapon types, so subscribe to keep yourself updated. Thank you for all the support for the channel. I'll continue to do my best in creating content, but this is it for this video. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.